Hey guys, welcome to the Real DVD Watchers. This week is Superhero Week, so everybody this week is going to be reviewing a superhero movie, and today is Saturday, and I have decided to pick for my superhero movie, as you probably could tell from the titles at the beginning, Superman. Superman is a movie from 1978, so it's quite an old movie now. It's almost so many years old, and this is the first time I'd ever watched this movie. My only experiences of Superman up until this point is basically what I've read on the internet, what I've heard, and Smallville. Smallville was the first thing that sort of got me into Superman. So watching the movie and watching Christopher Reeve as Superman, as Clark Kent, as Kal-El, was something I was looking forward to doing because, you know, Christopher Reeve, no matter whether you've seen the films or not, you know that he was Superman. And sadly, you know, he passed away a few years ago now, but he is amazing in this film. But before I get into who's in it and what, I'm going to tell you the story. Basically, the movie starts off with Marlon Brando's character, who you probably know from The Godfather and films like that. Marlon Brando plays Jor-El. Now, Jor-El is a Kryptonian. It starts off on the planet Krypton, and the movie begins with him sentencing these three evil Kryptonians led by Zod, who is played by Terrence Stamp. Terrence Stamp, I think that's his name, who of course is in Smallville. He plays Jor-El in Smallville, or the voice of Jor-El in the Smallville TV series. But Marlon Brando plays Jor-El in this, and basically he has the idea that Krypton is about to be destroyed, is going to blow up in 30 days. So he tells this idea to everyone on Krypton, and they don't believe him, and they're going to condemn him, but he says that he will stop scaring people with this crazy idea that he's had, as long as and he and his wife will not leave Krypton. However, his son Jor-El, who was a baby at the beginning of the movie, he sends him off to Earth because it's the only other planet that that all has the right things. I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, Jor-El sends his son Kal-El to Earth, and Kal-El crash lands in Smallville in Kansas on Earth, and he is found by Jonathan and Martha Kent, who find this sort of meteorite that's crashed into the Earth, and it contains Kal-El. Now, Kal-El has these powers, which makes him Superman. He's got super strength, super speed. He can fly. He can shoot beams of fire out of his eyes. He has amazing hearing. He can do all these amazing things, and he becomes their adopted son. They adopt him, and they try to keep his secret hidden from the world. So Kal-El begins to live this normal life in Smallville High. He's in love with Lana Lang. He is just living as normal life as he can without showing his powers, but at the same time he's having fun, you know, running around chasing trains. One of the best scenes in this movie, actually, is when he is following this train home from school. He's sort of just running full speed after it. It's a really incredible scene because the special effects are just amazing. But anyway, so yeah, eventually he decides to leave home. He goes out and he gets a job at the Daily Planet as a reporter, but he turns to his alter ego, which is Clark Kent, which is kind of his cover for his real identity, and he ends up falling in love with Lois Lane and has to save the city save California basically from Gene Hackman's character, who is Lex Luthor, and Margaret Kidder, of course, plays Lois Lane. Right, anyway, so that's basically the story out of the way. Now I'm going to talk about some of the characters in general. Like I said, Christopher Reeve as Superman, as Clark Kent, as Kal-El is amazing. He's just incredible, especially the end when, well, actually no, I'm not going to give that away because it's kind of a spoiler, but he does a really cool thing at the end. Margaret Kidder as Lois Lane is excellent. I really like her as Lois Lane. She's very attractive in this movie, and she just plays a really great character. She's just the right mix of different elements that I expect Lois Lane to be. So that was really good. Now I can't remember who played him, but Jimmy Olsen's also in this, who's great. Now the one person that I did not like in this movie was Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. Now it may be just me because I'm not sure what the comic books are like, how the comic perceives Lex Luthor, but I've watched Smallville, and Smallville has raised me into believing that Lex Luthor is this evil, obsessive, very serious character, whereas in this he's kind of a comic relief in a sense. He's very funny. He has this really annoying sidekick called Otis, I think his name is, or something like that. I did not like his character. He really annoyed me. I don't know why. I mean, I accept the fact that there's humour in this movie, and there is some really funny scenes. There's this one scene that really made me laugh when Superman rescues a cat from a tree, and the little girl goes in and tells her mum, and she's like, "Mum, this man just flew down," and yeah, it is quite funny. But I'm blabbing on. Anyway, yes, I did not like Lex Luthor in this movie. The fact that he wore a wig I thought was kind of weird. I don't know if that happens in the comic book again. I'm not a Superman index or dictionary or what you want to call it. But of what I know, what I was expecting of Lex Luthor, it just didn't deliver in that sense. Gene Hackman is a really good actor, but I just didn't like him in this movie. And his plan as well, it was basically he has hijacked some nuclear weapons or missiles or something, and he's going to attack the California fault, I think, which will submerge half of California in water, and the cheaper half of California that he's bought will suddenly rise in, you know, in cost. You'll get more money and stuff. And I just didn't know if that was really that good of a plot, of a good of an idea. And basically, my whole feelings towards this movie, the first half of the movie I loved. The second half of the movie was a bit weaker than the first half, because I loved, one of the things that I love about Superman, and one of the things that I have been drawn to about Superman since watching Smallville and since learning about him, that I like more than a lot of other superheroes, is that he has so much backstory and so much history to him. The fact that he's an alien, you know, you don't get that many superheroes now that are aliens. He has, you know, when I was a kid, I just wasn't interested in Superman. The idea of him having like all these powers, being basically invincible, just kind of, I didn't see the point, you know. But now that I'm older, I can understand it more, and perhaps things that I overlooked as a kid, I just find his character so interesting, and some of the like his whole backstory is really great. You know, he's a very interesting superhero, and this movie is excellent. I mean, like I said, it's from 1978, which is a long time ago, and the special effects are incredible. They are really, really good. What I forgot to mention is this is directed by Richard Donner, who's a great director. He did one of my all-time favourite movies, which is The Goonies. It's kind of the sense of nostalgia that I get from watching The Goonies. I can appreciate the same sense of nostalgia watching this. I could watch this again. It's one of those movies that I really regret not watching as a kid. It was on TV, I never really watched it, but I really do wish I'd had, because it's a really great movie that I really enjoyed. Another thing I want to mention is the music, which is of course conducted by John Williams. He did Star Wars. He is an incredible musical conductor, and it's just an amazing, you know the theme tune for this movie without even seeing it. It's just an incredible soundtrack. And the one other thing that kind of puts me off about this movie is the length. It is over, I think it's like 2.5 hours, and it just felt a bit long. I mean, the first hour basically is setting up who Clark Kent is, where he came from. I mean, the good first half hour of the movie is set on Krypton, you know, or maybe less than that, but and then the second half movie kind of dragged on a bit. There was a few, I mean, I couldn't exactly pick out bits that maybe I'd taken out of the movie that weren't necessarily part of the film, but it just felt a bit like it dragged on halfway. But then the ending was really good, where he's sort of flying around and rescuing everyone, which was really great. And again, I just want to say the effects in this movie are brilliant for the time, just excellent. Overall, I have to give this movie 9 out of 10. I loved it. I will definitely be watching it again. I'm definitely going to watch the sequel, both versions of it, of course, because there's the Richard Donner cut as well. Please, I recommend this movie most definitely. Superman is an incredible character. If you like Smallville, of course, you know, you owe it to yourself to watch this movie. I was an idiot for not watching it sooner, so that is Superman the movie. Anyway, enjoy Superhero Week, and I will catch you next time.